1994 genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi in Rwanda claimed the lives of more than 1 million people and destroyed Rwandan relationships. "21 years later, the shadow of this legacy still haunts the daily lives of Rwandans. Some of the impacts of the broken relationships is fear, suspicion, and polarity. A young generation has grown up hearing only stories, but facing some of the impact of genocide and learning genocide history and its ideology. Never Again Rwanda introduced school youth clubs and associations to unity and reconciliation, non-violence, and mediation trainings in an ongoing and essential part of promoting socially cohesive generation that address conflicts non-violently and with critical thinking skill.
This way, people involved in conflicts are able to turn their lives around and live in harmony.
Rwanda, a post-conflict country, conflicts in the past were more based on identity and ethnic divisions. Currently, conflicts amongst the youth are more caused by the struggle for better socio-economic situations, as highlighted by the conflict mapping exercise conducted before the implementation of Rwanda Peace Building Empowerment Project. Designing the Rwanda Peace Building Empowerment Project, Never Again Rwanda intended to empower youth as peer ambassadors for peace in Huye, Nyamagabe, Nyanza, and Gisagara districts of the southern province of Rwanda.
Mediation is one way through which people solve conflicts among themselves voluntarily. It is one strategy we commonly use, especially among the youth, so we can offer our contribution to the youth so they can be the solution to the challenges that often arise in community, rather than being the problem, as it is always the case.
From the discussions you've had, you have realized that mediation is different from the usual strategies that have been used to solve conflicts.
To achieve this, Never Again Rwanda developed a training manual on conflict mediation, specifically for use in secondary schools, universities, and communities. This manual was used to train secondary school, university students, and non-schooling youth in mediation and other conflict mitigation strategies. The trainings focused on skills development to understand and analyze conflict and implement mediation strategies, such as short courses and technical assistance in mediation.
Kuri gihe rwose urabizi nta kibazo baza kareba.
The success of the project is wide. Since August 2014, Never Again Rwanda has reached more than 500 youth involved in various activities of the Rwanda Peace Building Empowerment Project implemented in Huye, Gisagara, Nyanza, and Nyamagabe districts of Southern Province. All those young peace ambassadors who attended various training sessions on mediation skills are currently engaged in various activities promoting the culture of non-violent conflict resolution.
One example is of a lady who was brutally beaten by the husband. She wished he would be detained at least for 5 days. As someone who was often in conflicts, and used to love fighting. I really commend training. They play a pivotal role. The mediation between two people who are even older than me. The next day he took her to the hospital and she came to me to thank me for the best counsel. She urged me to spread the word.
Marianne Niyitegeka, a member of Abasangira Ngendo Association, lives in Huye with her parents. Early 2015, she attended the training on mediation in the same district. At that time, she didn't understand how, as a youth, she can become a successful mediator.
I welcomed the training because I realized that since we often suffer conflicts in our community, I will be able to help.
I was cheating on my wife, and my marriage was a mess.
He never communicated or had time to converse. Every time he would come asking for forgiveness and I wouldn't listen to him.
A mediator came to our house and told us about living in harmony. I didn't listen to her advice, but she told us about the training she had, but we didn't listen. However, her relentless visits to our home softened our hearts.
I knew it wouldn't be an easy battle, but I took the step of faith. I didn't know our home would ever be stable again, or if we would ever enjoy smooth communications. Everyone was on their own. The trainings pledged to solve the conflicts in our neighborhood. I requested for their permission to be their mediator, and they consented. I told them that I was trained to be a mediator, and I wanted to help them solve their conflicts. I talked to both parties separately, so I applied the skills I was equipped with.
Marianne came to our home and she told us that she had received training from Never Again, and she started teaching us.
Marianne came and talked to us, and she encouraged me to talk to him so he can accept his wrongdoings. That's when I became calm and we started talking and I forgave him.
Today, Francis and his wife Uwitonze are living a happy and charming life together. As a result of the conducted trainings and continued support, young people are playing a pivotal role in preventing violence and transforming conflicts in their communities, and their efforts are visible.
I set a target of solving conflicts in two families, but I didn't know how to do it. Rather, I helped flame it up. But after the training, I was able to realize my goal and help save those families.
I met a lady on my way from the cell office, and she asked me, if someone insulted you, yet that person killed your people, and looted your property, what would you do?
Ahubwo akagutuka wabigenza gute?
I asked her if those people came to you and asked you to forgive them, would you forgive them?
Bakakuganiriza wabaha imbabazi. Arambwira ati nyamara bansanze kuko nanjye mbibona ko koko ari imfubyi nabo mu buryo bwabo.
She responded that since they are also orphans, though not genocide orphans, but their mother or father is in prison, I would forgive them.
Ndamubwira nti none se buri wagushakira uburyo mwahura mukaganira wabaha imbabazi koko? Ndangije naragiye negera abana turaganira.
So I went and talked to those people and I planned to make them meet.
Byabaye ariko natwe twifuza kuba twamusaba imbabazi muha umunsi. Ndangije naba abandi nabo ndagenda mbaha wa munsi n'isaha twari twavuganye.
They met and solved their conflict. They are now living in harmony.
Ubu mukecuru n'abo bantu baravugana baraganira.
Tumaze gufata amahugurwa ibikorwa twakoze.
After the training, we embarked on some activities. We visited Groupe Scolaire Kiraro. We talked to the students and the teachers.
Ikintu kiza twahungukiye n'abantu bakishimira. Hari nk'igihe nk'umwana yenda bavuga ngo umwana wa mwana uri debe uri giki.
One thing that stood out is the case where teachers demean and abuse the pupils, which breeds a conflicting inner thought in a particular pupil.
Umwese umuntu idebe afata buriya mwarimu mbonamo ikintu kimeze gute muri we abura ukuntu yifata yaje guhana wa mwarimu yagiye kumbonamo ikintu kimeze yazatirimo wakoresheje.
We urged teachers to refrain from using belittling terms like stupid, among other terms. The teachers said they at times used those words, but didn't know the impact they had on the pupils.
Umurema w'amakimbirane kandi bitari ngombwa.
Byari byakaze. Hari amakimbirane.
There were conflicts in a group. The president, together with some group members, decided to withdraw their collected money.
Bandika urupapuro bikuza amafaranga y'itsinda.
But the president betrayed them and used it for selfish gains.
Noneho mbaza ibibazo bihari. Se ni ikihe kibazo gihari? Uwo muperezida aransobanurira. Noneho mbaza no ku rundi ruhande rwari ruri kumubaza ibibazo.
I approached them and they told me the whole story. I have been trying to mediate those wrangles.
Mbumvisha yuko byamubabaza aramutse afasha amafaranga y'abandi.
The conflicts are not yet completely resolved, but if I had delayed, serious consequences would have ensued, like the association would have been dissolved.
Umuzi warayo mafaranga ariko ingaruka zari kuvuka hagati yo ntinda itsinda ryo ryari gutarishwa risenyuka.
Nihereho jewe ubwanjye mu muryango wanjye.
I started with my family. I got to know my paternal aunt when I was 12 years old.
Numva banamuvuga gusa mu magambo ntaranamubona.
I would hear stories of her family being killed by her relatives and by my mother. We used not to communicate, but one day I called her, and when she realized that it was me, she hung up.
Jewe arankupa. Maze kunkupa ikintu nakoze nahamagaye mukuru.
After that incident, I called my elder brother and asked him to organize a meeting with her. But I was also hesitant to go to her house in fear of anything that could happen to me.
Ariko nanjye nkumva kuba natega ngo ngiye iwe nkumva birambangamiye. Nkibaze se none najya kuri uyu muntu nkahurirayo n'ikibazo.
We, however, planned and went to visit her. When we arrived at her place, I asked her to tell me what really caused the disputes between both families.
ikintu cyabiteye ni igiki.
She said that the reason behind our meeting will be a breakthrough to solving all conflicts. From that time, I still talk with my aunt, and she often requests me to pay her visits.
Muri makeya na n'ubu ngo masenge turavugana kuri telefone ukumva ko nashaka yuko musura.
Amahane tukabindi mwe twese mu muryango uzira uburya ryutagira inabi abantu tugasangira urupfu no kurama subiza gatimba.
Even though acknowledging and supporting the work of young peace ambassadors is a process, local leaders and community members have started to understand and support the role of youth in influencing positive change in their communities.
You train them. Now they have learned to solve conflicts through mediation. The youth are now at the forefront of solving wrangles among various families.
Bakajya iwabo wa wundi bafite amakimbirane bumva ko harimo ikibazo cy'amakimbirane bakajya iwabo akariho bajya gusura.
We are glad to have this in our community.
Bivuga yuko hari amahirwe dufite kandi meza.
Nari umuntu brutal. I used to be very brutal. If I got to know that you had done a mistake, I would just take a decision without first listening. For example, if they brought a child who was coping, I wouldn't first ascertain the truth. I would punish them immediately. One thing I got from Never Again is listening. I lacked that. I always prayed to God to end the brutality. From the training, I now listen to everyone. I totally changed.
The students and young people who benefited from this project are the role models to their peers, giving a good example and helping them in addressing several types of conflicts.
Our school doesn't have disciplinary committees or counselors. Those students and teachers are now serving that role in resolving disputes in our school.
mu gukemura amakimbirane hano mu kigo ubundi wahoraga muri break ukabana abanyeshuri.
Before, I would be approached by different pupils with conflicts, especially during break times.
Kuva iki gihembwe nta munyeshuri n'umwe nigeze nakira.
But now the story is different. They just bring me positive reports from the Never Again club in our school.
Uziko habaye ikibazo kiniki atako twagikemuye gutya na gutya numva biranyuze.
And helping them in addressing several types of conflicts, interpersonal, inter and intra-group, as well as underlying conflicts affecting all of the Rwandan society. With the above-mentioned strides made by young peace ambassadors, they are still facing some challenges in dealing with conflicts in their schools and communities.
Abantu duhuza cyangwa se abaturage inshuro nyinshi baba bazi bahuza cyangwa se bitiranya ubuhuza.
The challenge is they mistake us for the legal mediation committees.
It's
a new initiative, and the citizens are not familiar with it.
There are many people who can't come here. I wish you would convene meetings near our areas so that our parents get to know about this, so that conflicts can be resolved, so they know the role of a mediator.
Akazi ko guhuza abantu
It's a huge challenge to mediate between married couples if you're not married yourself. They tend to shun your counsel saying you're young in age. It's not that easy.
Even though mediation is voluntary, the mediators need airtime and transport to visit or communicate to particular parties in a dispute. So those youth face a challenge of limited or no access to that which impedes them from doing their work effectively. As Never Again, we are advocating for the youth to get support to do their duties.
Through Rwanda Peace Building Empowerment Program, youth are no longer troublemakers, but viable source of ambassadors for peace, empowered to become responsible leaders towards sustainable peace and social cohesion in Rwanda.
Niki cyaruta ubuntu n'imbabazi mu bantu bambe umubano mu bantu nta cyaruta umushyikirano no ku bindi mwe bambe mu mubano w'abantu